What is it that actually makes a protagonist strong? Because it's not just about physical strength. It's not about confidence or being fearless or always knowing what to do. Some of the most compelling protagonists in storytelling are uncertain, flawed, or even deeply vulnerable. So why do they still feel powerful? That's what we'll be analyzing today, because strong protagonist is one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot, but it's often misunderstood. And if you get this wrong, your character can end up feeling flat, unrelatable, or just not very memorable. So in this video, I want to break down what actually makes a protagonist strong and how you can apply that to your own writing. Let's start by clearing something up. A strong protagonist is not someone who always wins. It's not someone who's always right, and it's definitely not someone who never struggles. A strong protagonist is someone who drives the story forward through their choices. This is what's important. Strength in storytelling comes down to a character's ability to make decisions and influence what happens next. It's about taking action and having an impact even when things go wrong. Let's look at Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, for example. She's not physically powerful. She's not in control of her circumstances in a social sense, but she has a strong internal voice. She makes judgments, forms opinions, challenges others, and crucially, she revises those opinions when she realizes she's wrong. That's strength. It's not about dominance, it's about engagement with the story. One of the biggest mistakes I see is trying to make a protagonist strong by removing their flaws. But flaws are what create strength, because without flaws, there's no tension, no growth, no stakes. Take Edmond Dantès from The Count of Monte Cristo, for instance. He starts as someone naive and trusting, and that flaw is exactly what leads to his downfall. But what makes him compelling isn't that he becomes powerful later. It's that his journey is shaped by pain, obsession, and moral complexity. You're constantly asking, how far is he going to go? And that question keeps you engaged. Or take the bride in Kill Bill. She's an incredibly skilled swordswoman and martial arts specialist, but her strength, it's not just her ability to fight. It's her drive, her focus, her refusal to give up, even after everything she's been through. And underneath that, there's still emotion, loss, humanity. Remember this, flaws don't weaken a character. They make their strength meaningful. Another key element of a strong protagonist is clarity of desire. They want something and they pursue it. That want doesn't have to be noble. It just has to be clear. Think about James Bond, for instance. In most stories, his goal is very straightforward. Complete the mission. What makes him compelling isn't complexity, it's decisiveness. He acts, he adapts, he keeps moving forward. Or look at Jack Reacher. He often enters a situation, identifies a problem, and chooses to get involved. Again, clear direction. A passive protagonist, on the other hand, waits for things to happen, and that's where stories lose energy. If your character doesn't want anything or isn't actively pursuing it, then the story stalls. It's therefore essential to give them a purpose, a goal that they can pursue. It's also important to let them make difficult choices, because strength really shows up when your character is forced to choose. We're not talking about easy choices here, but difficult ones, the kind where there's no perfect outcome. This is where character is revealed. Let's go back to Elizabeth Bennet for a moment. When she realizes she's misjudged Darcy, she has to confront her own pride and prejudice. That's not an external battle, it's an internal one, and choosing to change her perspective takes strength. Or consider Edmond Dantès again. He's constantly making choices about revenge. How far is too far? Is there a line? Those decisions define him more than any external success. Here's the point I'm trying to make. A strong protagonist doesn't just face obstacles, they respond to them in meaningful ways. They also feel consistent, but not one-dimensional. You understand how they think, how they react, what matters to them. Even when they surprise you, it still feels true. Take the bride again. Her actions are extreme, but they're always aligned with her motivation. Or Jack Reacher. He has a very specific moral code. Once you understand it, his decisions make sense, even when they're intense. Consistency builds trust with the audience, and once that trust is there, you can push the character further. Now, there's also strength through vulnerability. This is something that often gets overlooked. Vulnerability doesn't weaken a protagonist, it strengthens them because it creates contrast. If a character is always composed, always in control, always unshaken, it becomes hard to connect with them. But when we see moments of doubt, fear, or emotional exposure, it adds depth. Even someone like James Bond, depending on the version, has moments where the mask slips. And those moments are often what people remember because they feel real. Strength isn't the absence of vulnerability, it's the ability to keep going despite it. Finally, a strong protagonist leaves an impact. They change something, whether it's themselves, another character, or the world around them. Their presence matters. Think about Edmond Dantès again. By the end, everything around him has shifted. Lives have been altered, consequences have unfolded. Or even Elizabeth Bennet. Her personal growth changes her future and influences those around her. A strong protagonist doesn't just exist in the story, they shape it. So what's the secret to writing a strong protagonist? It's not about making them fearless. It's not about making them perfect. It's about giving them agency, desire, and the ability to make meaningful choices. Let them be flawed. Let them struggle. Let them act. Because that's what makes a character feel alive, and ultimately, that's what readers connect with. If this helped you think about your protagonist in a new way, feel free to like the video. This really helps the channel, and I'd love to know, what's a protagonist you think was crafted really well, and why? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more writing tips like this, consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.